Round one.
8 out of 5 seconds.
I love the city of Newton. I love living here. I've lived here my entire adult life. I raised my 2 children here. They were educated in the Newton public schools. They got a great education. Each of them is now living somewhere else in the country studying for PhDs with the foundation that they could have gotten only in Newton, Massachusetts. I have served this community for many years. I've served it most recently for 10 years in the state legislature. Prior to that, I served the city that I love on the Newton Board of Aldermen. Most of you know me in that context, but I have not always been a legislator. In fact, I'm a psychologist by profession. I have a PhD in clinical psychology, and I had a 30-year career in mental health before I ever ran for the state legislature. That career included work in both the private and public sector as both a clinician and a manager. I was a manager of agencies. In fact, the last job I had before I ran for the legislature was very much like the job of Newton's mayor. It was my job to figure out how to provide services, quality services, to as many people as possible in the most cost-effective manner as possible, which is always a challenge. The common thread in my work in the mental health field and my work as an alderman and as a state legislator is that I'm a problem solver. I've been solving problems all my adult life, working with people to solve problems. Whether it was the traffic problems that I put stop signs around the city, whether it was a need for affordable housing without increasing density, so I led the charge for accessory apartments, whether it was the need for after-school programs, childcare. I was a founding member of the Child Care Commission. People may not remember the days when Newton didn't have child care services so that all working families could leave their children in a quality care setting and go out to work. In the legislature, the list of problems I've tackled and solved are long. There's saving Hammond Pond, which we were in danger of losing because of runoff from Route 9. I spearheaded an effort that saved that pond, to a language I got into the budget this year that extended a state loan for 10 years so that we could fix our fire stations, to money that I got in the transportation bond bill to fix Needham Street. I've been working at solving problems for the people of Newton and with the people of Newton, and have been very effective doing that. I mention my skill as a problem solver because the next mayor of Newton is going to have to be a really good problem solver. The city of Newton faces very significant problems. The structural deficit, we haven't even begun to see it. We're only beginning to see the impact of this economic downturn. In today's Globe West, there's a story about the 2 anchors of Needham Street closing. We're just beginning to see some of the businesses close, the economic challenges. When we go back into session in January, we'll see whether state cuts will come down the pike, so to speak. There are some problems coming down the pike, too. We've got big problems, and we need someone who knows how to solve problems. I'm not going to give you, in the 2 seconds on that clock, a list of my 100 favorite solutions. What I'm going to say is that I am someone who knows how to solve problems, and the way I solve problems is by working with other people. The problems, the solutions aren't all in this one individual mind, although I've got a lot of good ideas. Anyone who's worked with me knows that the way I work with people, whether it's on the Board of Aldermen, whether it's in a mental health practice, whether it's in the state legislature, whether it's in the faith community I'm part of, or the kids' family network, it's about listening to people, understanding each person's perspective, respecting each perspective, bringing all the stakeholders together to the table, reaching some kind of consensus, and then moving forward. I want to be real clear, because I'm going to talk a lot about listening in this campaign, and I am a listener, I'm a good listener, but that doesn't mean I don't know how to be tough or make decisions, or not know how to fight when I need to fight. I'll remind folks that in my first 6 years in the legislature, I stood up to the most powerful man in Massachusetts. More recently, I stood up to the insurance industry, who put all of its efforts behind trying to kill my mental health parity bill and my gender equity bill, and I stood them down. So I know when to fight when we need to fight, but I also know when to collaborate, when we need to collaborate to get the job done. I got more bills signed by the governor this term than any other legislator. Speaker keeps saying that. And I was able to do that because I know how to collaborate with people. I know how to work with people who oppose me, who agree with me, and how to build the networks of support to get something done. I believe that those are the skills that we're going to need in our next mayor. We have very big problems. We have the structural deficit. We have a crumbling infrastructure. I was on the Board of Aldermen when Mayor Mann of blessed memory said, he admitted, you remember, he said that because of Prop 2.5, he was going to shift the money into services and take it away from the infrastructure. And he said, someday we'll pay the price. Well, that someday is now here, and we're paying the price with our roads and our buildings, our fire stations, our schools. We've got a serious problem with our infrastructure. We're out? Yes. So, I know how to solve problems. I'll do it by working with all of you. Because you've got great ideas, and I look forward to the next 10 and 12 months of having this conversation. Thank you.